The Hogs are in San Francisco for the Sweet 16, and so are we. I'm Alex Stewart, joined by Tyler Cass. And if you haven't been to San Francisco and you're wondering where's the sunshine, we were talking about it a little bit earlier. It's about par for the course. I've just given up with my hair. It's a mess, windy, cold.
Nothing colder than San Francisco in the spring. This is it. It's gray, it's windy, it's cold. It's exactly what you want. It's the true experience.
Well, and in fact, the bus driver for the media shuttle bringing me here earlier this morning, he said the exact same thing. He said the coldest winter he ever had was a San Francisco summer. So for those of you that are in the South enjoying that warm weather, maybe bring a couple jackets or just don't come. But we're here now, and we're happy to be here, and the Hogs are getting ready to play some basketball, Tyler.
Yeah, they're certainly happy to be here. I think
because they're inside.
Exactly. They're inside. Basketball is a sport that's played with four walls and a ceiling, and thank goodness for that, because who knows? It might rain. Only thing raining inside, we could say three-pointers, but
threes, yeah.
The Hogs, only 2 made threes against Texas Tech. I think John Calipari knows they can't recreate that shooting performance if they want to keep going.
No, he said as much. 2 for 19. He said you are not going to advance very far in this tournament. He was lucky that his defense stepped up, kept St. John's, from really being the team that they could have been. I know they're not great shooting historically this season, but they sort of found a rhythm. Cal able to break that.
Yeah, exactly. And now they've had a little bit of chance to get used to the sight lines, if you will. It's an NBA arena. It's a bigger stage than they've played in pretty much at any point this season. I mean, you got a little taste of that with the Kansas City on Thanksgiving Day, the Madison Square Garden of it all, and now we're going to see if that experience pays off on the biggest of stages.
Well, the Hogs, no strangers to big stages, metaphorically, of course, playing in the best teams in the country, in the SEC. They play everybody good. They don't really get blown out. They had 2 really bad losses, Mizzou and Tennessee, but outside of that, it's been under 10 points every loss against top-tier teams. So I think they are ready for the big stage.
And that was even during that start, that 0-5 SEC start. The narrative, other than a couple games like you mentioned, was, man, they really seem like they're right there. And now, as we've seen, this is a much better team than they were during that start to SEC play. It's now a much more complete team thanks to some injuries. And the freshmen, the thing that John Calipari is known for, his star freshmen, they've come along. They've played a full season.
Yeah, those 3 being Billy, Carter, and then, as you mentioned, with the injuries, Boogie, who is back on the court. Boogie Fland, Cal said, he's only going to play maybe, 10 to 15 minutes. Tried 24. He played 24 in his first game back, then logged 20 in the second against St. John's for 44 minutes. I think he's back. I think he's ready. I think he's fully healthy and ready to go.
And really, all these freshmen at this point feel ready to go, and I think they said as much after practice today.
We all stay in the same dorm at Fayetteville, so, we have discussions about times like this, and, they shine when the lights are bright.
Being a freshman, learning from other guys, like the veterans, like Nelly, dude, they all teach me stuff. So just having them, teaching me everything, and just playing off of them, learning from them, and just going out there playing hard.
Yeah, it was very interesting to watch them all in practice. A lot of intensity, a lot of just enthusiasm out there, especially from those guys. Again, to Boogie, he looked healthy, he looked good, no real limitations whatsoever. He was out there shooting, hitting shots, which is always great to see ahead of a basketball game. Carter doing what he does, being aggressive, and Billy Richmond, man, they were just doing these nice little layup drills, and Billy was going hard in the paint, dunking on Coach. They said, Okay, Billy, that's what you're about. Billy the Kid showing up on the West Coast.
And you love to see, Billy Richmond is an absolute joy to watch on the basketball court. There's a touch of chaos there, sometimes in a great way, sometimes in a, oh gosh, kind of way, but that's just what he brings to the team. And if they get good Billy Richmond, you really start to like your chances in this one.
That is the one thing Coach Cal has said basically all season with Billy is playmaker. But, man, he does some stuff where you go, why?
He doesn't have that fear. There's a lot of fear that comes along with being a freshman, and Cal's also talked about that. Some guys, they miss 2 shots, it's going to turn into 5 missed shots, or they're going to stop taking shots. Billy's not going to stop as long as he's out there on the court. That's why you love him, though, that motor that just keeps going.
He is the guy that when you need a play, he can get you that play, get your team right back in it, feeling good. I don't know, Tyler. Overall, excited. Your thoughts kind of on this matchup with Texas Tech. They're number 3 seed coming into this tournament. Big wins, big team. 2 really big, intense guys we're going to talk about a little bit later. But, man, they pose a very difficult challenge, different from what the Razorbacks have seen in the first round.
Yeah, look, 3 games in a row now where Arkansas is the underdog. That's what happens in the NCAA tournament when you're a double-digit seed and just keep winning. But the path doesn't feel as clear as those first couple games. We knew how Kansas struggled. You saw it down the stretch with the Razorbacks able to force key turnover after key turnover. And then St. John's came in with this reputation, the big, bruising defensive team that could go ice cold at times. And that's what happened. They just didn't hit the shots. The path was there. Texas Tech, they have a few different kind of ways to beat you. And, I mean, I think John Calipari even said it after practice today. He's very familiar with what Texas Tech brings to the table, going back decades.
I'm watching tape, and I say in that league to have that record, to go on the road and win the games he's won, that team, he's got them to playing together and for each other. They can shoot the three, or if you try to take that away, they can post it. And they play that way. And they'll figure out where there's an advantage, and they go right after it.
You've got to know your opponent, Tyler. You got to know who you're facing. That's how you win. And for more on the Texas Tech Red Raiders, let's send it to Robin back in studio. Robin.
Yeah, guys, thank you. Stay warm out there. And as we get ready for tomorrow, Arkansas is going up against one of the best offenses in the nation. And on more on how the Red Raiders and how they're coming into this one and what they're putting on the court, 5 News sports reporter Parker Abels breaks down some of their key players.
The Sweet 16 has arrived, and when you get to the second weekend, there are no easy matchups, and that's not an exception for the Hogs as they're taking on Texas Tech, the 3 seed in the West and a top 2 finisher in the Big 12. And when you finish second in a conference like the Big 12, you're bound to have some big-time playmakers, and that all starts up front with the Big 12 Player of the Year, J.T. Toppin. Toppin is a very traditional forward, loves to drive and post up, and from what I've seen, there's no one better in the country at doing just that. He averages 18.1 points per game and will back you down and shoot over you. The Hogs will have to play him similarly to how they played Hunter Dickinson at Kansas, but Toppin is more athletic and will fight for every bucket. He's also a great rebounder, something the Hogs struggled with Saturday against St. John's. Adu and Brazil will need to get a body on him each time the ball goes up. Oh, and did I mention he can shoot the 3? Because he can. On to Chase McMillan. He's their bucket getter at the guard position. Plays similarly to how Zeke Mayo of Kansas plays, where he can do about anything. He can shoot, get to the rim, and pull up from mid-range, averaging 14.2 points per game. Arkansas will need to keep an eye on him wherever he goes, that likely being DJ Wagner and Billy Richmond. Now, Darian Williams has been the star of the tournament so far as he's put up 27 points Saturday against Drake. He's an elite scorer inside the arc and will try to overpower you. Also watch for the kick-out passes. He's got great vision as well. And speaking of vision, lastly, let's look at Elijah Hawkins, averaging 6.5 points per game. He can distribute the ball better than anyone on the team. He's the primary ball handler and will always look to find the open man. But watch out, because if you leave him open, he'll knock down a 3 or 2. Now, this will be the toughest game of the tournament so far for Arkansas, but if they can contain those scores and limit second-chance opportunities, the Hogs have a chance of heading to another regional final. Parker Abels, 5 News Sports.
Well, thank you, Parker. Now, we should not get too ahead of ourselves. However, let's take a look at what the rest of the West region is looking like this weekend. The number 1 seed, Florida, is taking on number 4 seeded Maryland, and they're going to be tipping off right before the Hogs at 6:39 p.m. That one also on TBS. The winners of both of these games happening tomorrow will meet in the Elite 8 on Saturday with a trip to San Antonio on the line. And guys, like I said, I hope you're keeping warm out there. But this is going to be a fun matchup. We have a lot going on. And Tyler, I see you have a friend there with you.
I do, Robin. Thank you for noticing. We're joined now by Curtis Wilkerson of Inside Arkansas. And Curtis, just thanks for joining us here in the Bay.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to be here. A little bit of deja vu because we did exactly this just a couple years ago, but very cool and very good vibes here in San Francisco.
Yeah, Hogs hoping that the Sweet 16 part of that at least goes, exactly how it did a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And the challenge was greater then, honestly. I mean, they faced the top number 1 overall seed in Gonzaga, and they were able to get through that. And this is a little bit of a different challenge, a different situation. Is Arkansas a Cinderella right now as a 10 seed? People were talking they would be a very expensive one given the NIL situation with the Razorbacks, but
it's
very cool
golden
nonetheless.
slipper, not a glass one.
That's a good way to put it right there. I like that.
I don't think anyone else in the country, at least my buying gauge of it, wants Arkansas to be Cinderella, but when you're the lowest seed left, if the slipper fits, we'll see. Curtis, you've been following this team now throughout the postseason. You were in Providence. You've obviously been in Fayetteville plenty. Just the last month, what has this team found? What's been different?
Well, they found it. And I think for the longest we were kind of wondering what it was, but really an identity for this basketball team. And they've really, I think, found a way to hang their hat on the defensive end of the floor. They figured some things out there, and it's been fascinating to see how adaptable and how moldable they've been to change. Because it has been a situation where Boogie Flan goes down, and you wonder, what's it going to look like? How is this team going to score points? And it really wound up putting guys like DJ Wagner and Jonell Davis into different roles that might have suited them better. Then Adu Thiero goes down. You wonder, well, what are we going to do with that? How's this going to work? Trevin Brazil's ready and waiting in the wings, and he steps up and is playing some of the best basketball of his career. And then now you've been able to see them sort of reintegrate guys back into that without really messing with the chemistry and everything that they built. So it's honestly kind of been a masterclass by John Calipari, which I know a lot of people won't be happy to hear that, maybe over in Lexington. But hey, the truth is the truth. And so I think these guys have really just come together. It's clicked at the right time. We've heard so much about how John Calipari's teams start playing their best basketball late in the season. They've done that, and now it's carried over into March, and maybe they're peaking at the right time here.
You mentioned the reintegration, Boogie Flan rejoining the team after a couple months. I think there were some people saying, oh man, they've been playing better without Boogie. Do you really want him back? I mean, to me, that's a silly thought, especially when you have so few scholarship guys. You just want fresh legs. But what'd you see out of Boogie last week, and just how he's kind of progressed even this week at practice?
Well, it's interesting because Boogie was a guy who scored a lot for Arkansas, and he had all of his assists. He was a very ball-dominant player for the Razorbacks early on in his career. And the question was whether or not that was conducive with winning basketball. And it would be easy for people to look at that 0-5 starting SEC play and say, well, maybe not. Maybe it wasn't. And I think there was more to it than that. I think this thing would have clicked for Arkansas at some point, whether Boogie had gone down or not. But what we've seen in the last couple games here is Boogie's adaptable himself. And he hasn't been necessarily efficient shooting the basketball. Like, the percentages haven't been great, but he's been impacting winning in other ways. Arkansas has needed an extra ball handler on the floor. He's been great about not turning over the basketball and getting other guys involved. That was huge against St. John's. He's come up with key steals on the defensive end of the floor in both of these games down here. So when the shots aren't falling, how can you help your team win? And he's been able to do that in a variety of ways, and that really helps with that reintegration process there for the Razorbacks. And like you mentioned, they need a little bit of depth, right? And it's definitely come in handy here recently.
And then the final piece of that puzzle seems to be Adu Thiero. Cal, talking a couple days ago on the Pat McAfee show, sounded very gung-ho. Talking today, a little less so maybe, with Adu not practicing fully today, or really at all. You got to watch him sit on the bench for about 15 minutes. What's the best case, you think, with Thiero in San Francisco?
I think best case, and the hunch that I have is, he got back to a full practice yesterday, and we saw the clips that they put out with him taking a little bit of contact and getting after it. This has been a lower body injury. It's different than Boogie's. His was a thumb, but he was still able to run and condition and stay in shape and keep his game legs underneath him. Well, when you're dealing with a leg, it's a little bit different, right? So my guess is that Adu had a full practice, and he probably woke up this morning feeling very sore from that. And so I think, with Arkansas, they're probably looking at it going, we could get him back out there and run him hard again, or you could rest him, let him recover, and then see how he feels tomorrow, which I would imagine would be a little bit better, and then go from there. So why risk it, even if he's feeling just a little bit sore in there? I still get the hunch that he's going to play. He seemed way more upbeat about it in the locker room when we were able to talk to him than John Calipari did, but he's always playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers, right? But if Arkansas can bring him off the bench, Cal mentioned that 12 to 15-minute range. Sometimes he says that and it winds up being 30 or 35. I actually kind of believe him in this case, but if he can give Trevin Brazil a blow in there and come in and defend Darion Williams, and you have him where you don't know if he's in game shape just yet, but can you get him in short spurts where he plays so hard, you know that he's going to do that, he can be an impactful player for Arkansas, especially on the defensive end of the floor and on the backboards, and I hope that we're able to see him out there tomorrow.
Well, you're a natural at this TV thing because you mentioned getting to talk to Adu Thiero after the game, or excuse me, after practice today, and we got to do that as well. Here's what Adu had to say about his injury and availability for tomorrow.
I'm just happy to get out there and be with the guys. It's been a while, but they've been able to hold down the fort. So hopefully I can get there and keep contributing. Trying to stay positive. It was a tough time because at the time of the injury, coming towards the end of the season, nobody wants to go out like that.
Hey,
Oh, you're back.
glad to be back.
Yeah, it's like you just went in and out there.
Speaking of, we'll get there in a second. In and out, but I actually really did like his analysis on Adu Thoreau being in and out of the lineup tomorrow. I do think he was spot on with a knee injury. It's a lot different than what Boogie was dealing with. The running, the pounding. Like, you always hear about those big men talking about how it does just a number on their joints. You know what I mean? Just running up and down the court. And so when you have that,
existing
just abuse,
at that size, does a
that's a
number
good point.
on
And
you.
so when you're trying to haul that mass around on a hardwood floor up and down. So basically, long story short, I completely agree. I do think that Adu sees some time tomorrow, but he's probably right. It is in that 10 to 15 minute range. But as we learned, I mean, that is massive, especially for the 7 guys that shouldered the majority of the work the last 8 games of the regular season.
And beyond, just tired legs, we saw against St. John's. If Arkansas starts getting into a little bit of foul trouble, you feel a lot better, even if the only thing Adu Thoreau does is come in and have 5 fouls to commit. That would be a positive based on what this team had available the last couple weeks.
You read my mind. I wanted to go to foul trouble right after that. You're absolutely right. If you can just get a guy that come in maybe at the end of the ball game where you're in that situation, you're playing the foul game. Just whoever gets the ball, you run there, you tap them, you foul out. Not that big a deal.
Now, as we did see, for the last couple months before he went down, Adu Thoreau good for a lot more than just fouling.
Yes,
so very
yes.
best case scenario, he is the guy. I mean, we saw against Kansas when they went zone, Arkansas didn't have Adu in the middle of that zone to run things, and that's what they were used to. So he's really a key piece of this team. They've proved their ability to win big games without him. But why not? Why not get them all back?
I mean, Adu, top scorer, Boogie, second scorer on the team. You get both of those guys back, and I don't want to put the cart ahead of the horse, but should they get through this, having those two completely healthy, I would imagine bodes well for a Final Four run.
Right. No matter who they would end up playing, it would be the
Correct.
winner of Florida and Maryland. Obviously, they've seen this Florida team before, but Florida has not seen this version of Arkansas.
Absolutely not. No, a healthy Arkansas team that at this point believes, and actually last week we did our own pregame show, I pointed to that Florida loss as a key turning point, I think, for the Arkansas Razorbacks. It was the first time they played a top team, and they held right with them. I believe they lost by 8 points. So yes, they did lose, and I hate the term moral victory, but I think that's where you started seeing them go, oh, we can play with these big boys. Like, we might be the youngest team in the SEC, but we can compete.
And, you don't want to talk ill of X's ever, but we saw last year with Eric Musselman's team where they kind of let go
Where
of
are they
the
at
rope.
now?
At home in California.
Right. Oh.
Yeah, he might be around the corner. Who knows? We'll keep an eye out.
Yes.
But you kind of saw with that team last year where they let go of the rope a little bit, where they were struggling and didn't necessarily give up, but you kind of never felt like, oh, yeah, this is a team that can figure it out. This year's Arkansas team totally could have done that. 0-5 in the SEC, guys dealing with nagging injuries. They lose Boogie Fland, and everyone was kind of talking, oh, is John Calipari washed? Was this a mistake by Arkansas? And he's got plenty of guys who are going to go to the league next year or in 2 years and get that big paycheck who could have checked out. And, people would have held it against them, but you could understand where they would be coming from. They never did that. And Cal's been very big on that, especially in the tournament when you listen to him post-game about the buy-in from this team and how much he's enjoyed coaching this team because, as he keeps saying, they're good guys, good families.
Well, and that really could be the Calipari effect, that what you're paying and bringing in is the belief. He's been here before. He said he's been here before. The players know he's been there before. He's a Hall of Fame coach. And so when times are bleak and you have a coach that's been through everything, it's a lot easier to believe someone that's walked through the path telling you that you're going to be okay, you're going to survive, you're going to make it through, you are talented, we can compete. And I think you're starting to see that really come into fruition here where they're in the tournament, they're making this run. And I think they might just be the most dangerous team in America because they believe, because of that Calipari effect, because every time they win, they're getting a little healthier, they're getting a little more experienced because they're young, they're getting a little bit more belief that they can do it. And when it comes to March, sometimes it's really the biggest thing you need.
Now, there's something to be said about peaking at the right time. And look, there's 16 teams left. If you look at the major national media outlets, most of them rank Arkansas at 16 out of 16 there.
That's how they like it.
But that was the Arkansas of months ago. A lot of people are still looking at that resume and not, A, what this talent is and always was able to be, and B, the full roster. We keep January 18th is the last time these 9 guys played together. If Adu Thoreau is out on the court, that's all going to change. And it's not a new Arkansas team, but it's an invigorated one. And like you said, that belief, that can carry you so far because it's March. It's madness. There's so much that's going to happen on the court, between the lines, but between the ears as well becomes so big this time of year.
Yeah, you have to believe. You have to trust each other. That's a huge thing because the fact of the matter is the lineup has been so changed. It's been in and out, which I know we were trying to set up a while ago. We've been fighting it, biting our tongue. I didn't want to let you get there too early, but we got to talk about it, Tyler.
We're a couple of California guys, too. Like, we grew up with it.
Robin is in studio right now screaming at the monitor. She's a Whataburger. We've had on-air beef for months now between In-N-Out and Whataburger. I think we all know which the superior is. I don't need to say it, but what is your go-to order when it comes to the best fast food burger chain?
I'm a double-double with grilled onions kind of guy. Animal fries if I'm feeling real feisty, and then a chocolate strawberry shake.
Onions? Tyler?
See, for me, I got to go with the... Oh no, they brought her back.
I'm here,
I thought she
guys.
went on break.
And I heard her just question the concept of onions, especially grilled onions, on a burger, and that tells you all you need to know about In-N-Out.
Grilled onion, Robin. Let's be real. Grilled onions on a burger. First off, In-N-Out is the superior burger chain. But how are you going to question this man's burger order live on stream? This man is pouring his soul. That's a very personal thing.
Exactly. We just found out a lot about me as a person, and then it just got insulted for the concept of onions on a burger, which, let's be honest, if that's a weird concept, it probably says more about you than it does about.
Your defense. It's only right we let you talk now.
Okay, so nothing against that. Obviously, I'm not an In-N-Out girl. I'm definitely a Whataburger all day as a Texan. But when you said onions, it doesn't sit well with me. But I will say this, guys. Now that y'all are in California, obviously you're going to get In-N-Out burger, but Jonas Adu, that Southern boy, has never had it before.
I'm looking around the pictures. I mean, it's just incredible. Growing up, you always play like 2K with the Warriors. You got Curry, Clay, KD. It's just great being in a facility like that. And then, I'm from North Carolina, so we don't have In-N-Out. So I came over here. I was begging for In-N-Out. In-N-Out is just fantastic to me, so I'm just grateful for that.
I wish we could meet him, though.
Yeah, meet Curry. All of them, shoot.
Sounds to me like another convert to the religion of In-N-Out.
Yeah, North Carolina. I was trying to come up with what they have regionally out there.
Barbecue,
a cookout situation, maybe. If you've ever cookout real solid. If you're going through the Carolinas. But
they do a lot of things okay, and In-N-Out does one thing great. Also, Robin, I need to talk about, Tyler said grilled onions. That's a very important distinction to make. Not onions.
Not raw onions.
Not raw onions, which they do have their place in the burger hierarchy, but grilled onions. Very, very different.
That extra little bit of care makes all the difference, and that's what In-N-Out brings you.
You know what?
This is quickly turning into a commercial.
It certainly is. We are not sponsored. We want to make that clear. Tegna has no dealing with In-N-Out. This is all
In-N-Out, if you're watching this and you want to.
I mean, we're not opposed to it, but you bore your soul. I'll go my 3x3. 3x3 grilled onions. To me, it's the perfect meat to cheese ratio. So if you come out here, I know you're saying 3x3, that's massive. In-N-Out patties, you have to understand, it's thin. Thin and small. So 3x3, perfect meat to cheese ratio. Grilled onions, must do. And then, of course, the burger sauce.
I just hope that Jonas Adu and the rest of the team was given a bit of a rundown before they went for the first time, because it is important to know, what you're ordering.
I am quite certain they probably did not, but they did get to see a lot more sites. I don't think you need quite as in-depth a tutorial. I mean, we could go in there, maybe give them a locker room pep talk for the next time they order, but they were sort of out and about on the city yesterday, I believe it was, and they were kind of talking about getting to see the sights and sounds. Tyler, do you have a favorite Bay Area?
I mean, look, Golden Gate and the Redwoods, very hard to top. I mean, those things are majestic national treasures for a reason. I love Lombard Street, the self-proclaimed curviest street in the world. It breaks your brain a little bit to look down it. But really, what I love most about the Bay Area is this, what we're experiencing right now. Cold, gray, predictable.
And you can smell the ocean, too. There's a very distinct scent that comes from the ocean. But enough of us talking about our dealings with the Bay. I guess I'll share mine after the players share theirs.
I rode in the self-driving car. It was called the Waymo. They're good. They're nice.
It's been amazing. I can't lie. You know, just everything that we saw. We went to the Golden Gate Bridge. We went to Lombard Road. So, you know, just all those excursions that we did, you know, as a tourist here and a new person here, you know, we just came and saw a couple things. You know, we're just excited to see it, you know, like big kids, honestly.
A lot of traveling. You know, we just got one day back at the crib, and we had to come here. So there's a lot of traveling, but, you know, I feel like our bodies are getting adjusted to it now.
I think an obvious one that they might have missed, the beach. And then one that maybe not a lot of people know about that is kind of up there for me. Obviously, you do have the Golden Gate Bridge, must see. But Ghirardelli, that's like the real life Willy Wonka.
Yeah, some chocolate.
The Ghirardelli
yeah.
chocolate factory sits, I'm not quite sure where, but like right off the coastline. Really neat to go tour that place and then get some free chocolate.
Alex, have you not eaten food all day? Because that's the last 10 minutes or so really giving me that idea.
I have not. I woke up at about 10, and I've been craving In-N-Out since then. I'm completely empty right now. I think maybe it's about time we hit the road, try and find In-N-Out.
That's true. Hey, because we got time today. Tomorrow, it's all about the Hogs.
All Hogs in the Sweet 16, taking on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. I believe we have another show for the good folks tomorrow in which we'll probably give our predictions. I don't want to choose anything going early.
We'll tease it, all right? You want to see how we think this game is going to go. You want to hear more from Coach Cal and the players. You want to hear from maybe a former Razorback who plays NBA games
I
in
would
this
love
arena.
to. Tell me how.
Well, you can watch on both either 5 News or THV11 over the air or streaming on 5 Plus and THV11 Plus tomorrow, 5:30 Central, when we give you all that and more just ahead of Razorbacks and Texas Tech.
And Tyler, you left out the best part. Free to watch.
Streaming for free.
Free to download, free to watch. You get all of that. It's really a crime if you don't do it, I feel like.
I think everyone should have the THV11 Plus and 5 Plus apps, because why not? A double-double, you could say.
I would agree with that. I also think everybody should have In-N-Out. Come to California, get to your nearest In-N-Out. They have them in the Dallas area. We should go find ours. Tyler Cass, it's been a pleasure.
You as well.
Let's go get some In-N-Out, yeah?